Hi, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. We are on a Monday, like the last day of March. Can you believe we're there already? It's kind of exciting because tomorrow Stampin' Up! Is releasing their last chance list, which has now become part of our clearance rack. So lots of discounts coming out tomorrow. So you want to make sure that you are signed up for my newsletter and watching the website early, because a lot of times those things will sell out quickly. We're also coming to the end of a annual catalog, which means a lot of our colors, or 5 of our colors, are going to be retiring. The Wild Wheat, Boho Blue, Moody Mauve. There's 5 of them, and they're going to be going out soon, but I want to remind you about those because they kind of sell out early. When there's inks and papers and those consumables, they're going to disappear quickly. They're going to be gone before the new catalog hits. So today we are working on an internal pop-up. So the outside of our card looks very standard, as you know, most of them do. But then when you open it up, I have a pop-up toolbox in the inside. Now I'm doing a toolbox, but it's not to say you couldn't make it a flower box or, you know, anything that's going to be popping up. You can make it a little box, you know, that has craft supplies coming out of it. You know, whatever your stamps are, it's easy to make this internal pop-up, and I can't wait to show you how it's done. So here we are down on my desk, and this is the stamp set we're using. It's called Trusty Tools, and it of course comes with a set of dies. Now this isn't all of them because I have a couple of them over here that have pieces still in them, because I tried to do a little bit of my die cutting ahead of time. And they have like the top part of the wrench and then the whole wrench. So they kind of stack on top of each other and create some of the tools. So let's go ahead and get started with our parts. What I have here is a scrap of white. We're going to do that for the dad on the front. But for our base, I have a cherry cobbler. And this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Then for the outside, I have a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have 2 on the inside that are the 4 by 5 1/4, because I'm going to put a white one on either side. So there's those 2. Then for the outside, for this part here, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. This is our actual pop-up toolbox. And you can't quite see, but it is scored. So this is 9 inches long. And I just took a strip that was a scrap, so it's actually an odd number, but roughly 1 1/2 inches. And it scored at 1 inch, a 4 1/2, a 5 1/2, and then of course it ends at 9. So that's inside. And then there's lots of little scrap pieces of our silver foil, and of the blue I'm using is Blueberry Bushel, but you know, of course they can be any color that you wish. I'm going to start out, I guess, with a little stamping. So let's pull those together. What have you all been working on lately? Are you excited about any of the new online products that came out in March? Or are you all kind of hanging out waiting for the exciting stuff that's coming in the new annual catalog? Let's see. Thank you to those who are liking and sharing the video. Obviously, that's how you get into the drawing to possibly win today's card. I have the last 2 winners rolling across the top, and it's 2 because I've been sick. And so I did go live last week on Thursday, but I wasn't kind of all here. So I didn't have our winner picked out for the prior video. So there are 2 winners rolling across the top. They're going to need to go to my website, queenbeecreations.net, and then up in the address bar, you can add in that ending of Prize Patrol, and it's going to throw you to the Google form that is going to show you how to give me your address so I know where to mail it to. In our new catalog, I don't know if anybody's seen it yet, but there's some new banner dies that are coming out and some large alphabet letters, which I think are going to be fun. They're a little on the pricey side, but there is so much that you can do with them. And it gets into the kind of like the home decor realm, which we haven't done in a long time. I mean, there's some, but the fact that these are designed specifically for that, I find kind of exciting. There's a lot of new scrapbooking stuff. I haven't scrapbooked in a long time, but that is actually how I got started in Stampin' Up. I don't know that I'll be purchasing the kits as much as maybe just it's going to inspire me to use the supplies I already have and just make some scrapbook pages using some of my current card making supplies. Let's see, what else do I need to stamp? The dad right here. Oh, and I didn't do this in here. So I didn't leave a spot for it. Okay. That's what I get for talking while I'm trying to do this. Okay, I need a dad. And blueberry bushel. And that scrap I had. Angie says she's preparing over 50 cards for a couple of nursing homes. That's nice. I bet they love that. There's so many older people in nursing homes that like their family doesn't visit them. It's really sad. Gian agrees with me about that banner set. I think that's going to be cool. Am I feeling better? Kind of on the mend. I would like my voice back, but I'm not coughing quite as much as I was last week. Thank you to everyone for liking and sharing. Just looking for any questions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out. One of the things I state all the time when I'm fussy cutting, people like have some trouble with it sometimes, but I think the most important thing is to allow your hand to be in a natural, comfortable position and then turn the paper as you go. I think if you try to turn your hand too much, then it's just not going to work really well for you. Your hand needs to be comfortable. And then I've kind of got it down in the bottom of the scissor blade. And then I'm kind of just gently rolling around, nice and slow. This dad is actually kind of easy to do because there's lots of kind of straight lines. And the curves that it has are fairly large, so it bends easily. Okay, so there's that. And like I said, I already had die cut a bunch of these little pieces. And then the silver part, some of them I actually went ahead and put adhesive sheet on the back so that they're going to be easier to apply. So as I said, we'll have to cut some more because I have one of the silver parts that goes on there, but I don't have two. I'm going to get another one of those. So we'll do a little die cutting, but I didn't want to crank here for half an hour while you all watch me. This Take Your Pick tool is actually one of my favorite tools that I have, and it's fairly inexpensive for as often as I use it and all the uses it has. Okay, and the adhesive sheet kind of fell off the back of that one. So most of these pieces are kind of easy to put together. Obviously, these are the pliers, so one just kind of goes over the top of the other. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue or a glue dot, something, and we're going to adhere those on there. Okay, I need another hammer, another wrench, another one of these, and probably some more screws. So I'm using the mini cut and emboss machine with plate 1 and plate 2. And then I have a second plate 2. And then I loaded up several dies all at once. And go ahead and crank those through. And as I said, I put adhesive sheet on the back. So all I need to do to assemble my wrench here is to peel off that backing. And then I'm just going to lay it on top of the blue. Come on. Go. Right. Now for the front of my card, I just went ahead and layered on a piece of smoky slate in which I kind of randomly stamped a few tools. And I did them in smoky slate onto a smoky slate base just to give kind of a watermark look. Kind of tone on tone. And then I have this piece that I'm going to layer over the top of it. And I could have left it just as is, but I thought I would add a little bit of extra interest just by coming and knocking off a corner. And then I wanted them to be kind of mirrored. So I took that corner and I put it over here and I used it as a guide to cut the other side so that I knew I was making them about the same size. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue a few tools down onto it. usually when my paper, like the foils and basic white and all of that, when it does have adhesive sheet on the back, I will often take a ballpoint pen or something and I will write adhesive across the back several times, because otherwise you kind of sit here and you look at it and go, does that have it or not? Whereas, you know, if you had adhesive sheet on the back of this, it would obviously be white where you expect it to be blue. So just an extra little tip. And if you're trying to make yourself aware of when it has adhesive sheet and when it doesn't, that might be something to try. I mean, and you get the idea with these little pieces. What I'm doing is trying to just fill in kind of little blank spots. It's giving me trouble. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to mount Dad kind of right there in the middle. So since I'm going to pop this up, I'm going to lay this flat. Now you can pop up both layers. Just depends on whether or not it's going to get too thick to mail. So kind of keep an eye on that. If it gets a little too thick, the post office wants some extra postage. And I'm a little cranky with them. They take too much of my money. So I don't like to give them extra if I don't have to. Oh, I could turn the tickler off now, huh? Sorry, I try to remove that to avoid distractions. All right, now I kind of want to center this, and I know the A's in the middle, so I'm using, I don't know, you can't see it here. I'm using the ruler across the top to know that this is absolute 0, because I've got 2 3/4 here and 2 3/4 there. So that just helps me find the middle. Okay, then we're going to open up our card and put our inside layers. Okay. Now this is going to be our toolbox, and I'm going to want it to butt up against this, the score line there, but I don't want it to interfere with it closing. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of close, but not too close. Excuse me. And then I'm using just a little bit of some silver foil, kind of to make it look like it's got a, you know, one of those metal handles that toolboxes have. Okay. Okay, now as with all of my pop-ups, what I want to do is install it with it flat, and then I'm going to put my adhesive here that's actually going to stick on that side. but I want it to be flat when it's closed. So I apply it while it's closed and then give that a good burnish. And now when it opens up, it's going to give me my pop-up, but it's definitely going to stay flat when it's closed. Okay, so it can stand up and be displayed. And then we're going to go ahead and put our little tools, and I'm going to put some in the foreground and some in the background. I'm going to put them on with glue dots. And of course, we want to kind of keep an eye on, you know, where they're going in. They're at different heights, going different directions, that kind of thing. Kind of so they look random, which we know is not my strong suit. I don't want to go that way with it. Okay, and as I said before, in order to get these on, I need a little bit of adhesive just on the ends of the plier things. And then we're going to put these on. Oops, come on. Okay, so I probably could use a few more little tools, but I think you're getting the idea of how that's all going to go together. See, this got an odd number of tools. It has 5 instead of 4, and I don't know why, but it looks so much more pleasing to the eye. Again, it's that artistic thing that I can't explain, but it works. Okay, so again, remember that Stampin' Up! Is updating their clearance rack / announcing their last chance list for our January through April mini catalog. So discounts go live tomorrow. So you might want to check it out and do a little bit of shopping and possibly pick up the Trusty Tools bundle while you're out there. So there we go. There is today's card. I hope you enjoyed it and you put up with my kind of squeaky voice and coughing. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you when you come back on Thursday. Thank you so much. Bye.